Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. Thank you for joining in. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानो सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नितिनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, so welcome everyone. We are discussing from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and we are on chapter 8. Today we'll be discussing the 8th chapter. So we have discussed so far that Vidura, after he was insulted by Duryodhan, he left his home and he went to pilgrimage. He went to all the holy places. He went to Prabhas. There he came to know that Krishna and the Yadu dynasty, they have all departed, but still his heart could not accept it. He reached Yamuna. There he met with Uddhava and asked about Krishna again. Uddhava, he explained all the beautiful pastimes of Krishna, and Uddhava told him that when I met Krishna under that banyan tree, he told me about his Paramam Sthiti. Paramam Sthiti means that uh, understanding which is not even given to Brahmaji. That means the knowledge of Braja. So Vidurji, he asks Uddhava, can you please tell me about that Paramam Sthiti? So Uddhava, he said, oh, actually he thought I am not qualified because Vidura is much elder in age. So thinking about Maryada Vyatikram, he says, no, please go to Maitreya. He's nearby only. He was also there when I was hearing from Krishna. So Vidura, and then Uddhava departed for Badrika Ashram. Vidura, he expressed his gratitude and he left that place, he reached Haridwar, met with Maitreya Muni and asked so many questions. So Maitreya, he described in great detail the Purusha Avatar pastimes, how this universe is created. And in the 7th chapter, after hearing about Purusha Avatar Katha, Vidura, he asks many more questions, similar questions as asked by Parikshit Maharaj. And the end of that 7th chapter, Vidura, he expresses his confidence that only you can solve my doubts. You can give all the answer to my questions. I have full confidence in you. So now in the 8th chapter, which is entitled The Manifestation of Brahma from Garbho Dakshai Vishnu. That is the title of this chapter. So what happened is Maitreya, in this chapter beginning, he expresses his gratitude and he acknowledges the devotion of Vidurji. This is a very, very wonderful thing which is happening here now in the 8th chapter beginning. Because, previously Vidura had told, he had expressed his gratitude to Maitreya. Artha bhavam vinishchitya prati tasyapi natmanaha yachapi yushmacharna sevayaham paranude. So Viduraji, he had told Maitreya Muni that, "Oh Maitreya, you have given me so many, you have told me so many things, so much information you have given me. But all that knowledge will become realization by your service." That's what Vidura had told about Maitreya. Now, in this chapter beginning, Maitreya, what is he doing? He is responding by telling that actually it is not Vidura who is benefited. Maitreya says, actually, I am benefited by your association, O Vidura, because you are such a great devotee. You are coming in the line of great parampara, great Kuru dynasty. So Maitreya, he begins. Satsevaniyo batapuru vamsho yallokapalo bhagavat pradhanaha babhuvitheha jitakirtimala pade pade nutanayasya bhikshnam. Very beautiful verse Maitreya is speaking here. Sat sevaniyo batapuru Puru Vamsha, the dynasty of Puru dynasty. Actually, it is worthy to be served by great devotees. And actually, it is worthy to serve the pure devotees. Why? Yallo kapalo bhagavat pradhanaha. Because all the kings who have come in this Puru dynasty, they are Bhagavat pradhana. They are best of the devotees of the Lord. They are not ordinary people. Bhagavat pradhana. The entire family, the entire Puru dynasty is devoted to the Supreme Personality. And therefore, Babhu Vitheha Jitakirti Mala. And therefore, because you are also born in that dynasty, it is so very wonderful. And you know what you are doing? You are making a garland of the glories of the Lord. Kirti Mala. Babhu Vitheha Jitakirti Mala. And because you are attempting to hear the pastimes of the Lord and you are describing the glories of the Lord. So you are actually making a garland of this kirti. Pade pade nutanayasya bhikshnam. And because of you, O Vidura, because of your presence, I am finding the pastimes of the Lord ever new, ever fresh. Pade pade. Every step, newer and newer at every moment. That is a wonderful relationship between the speaker of the Bhagavatam and the hearer of the Bhagavatam. The speaker of the Bhagavatam never feels that I have come to deliver the entire world. If somebody thinks like that, he is not a bona fide speaker. A speaker of Bhagavatam always feels that he has come to take mercy. If the devotees are pleased, whatever I am speaking, I will realize that. Tanno bhavanvai bhagavat pradhano mahattamaikanta parayanasya nantam gunana magunasya jagmu yogeshwaraye bhavapadma mukhya. It is described in the first canto. All the sages are telling, "O Suta Goswami, you are Bhagavat Pradhana, you are the best of the devotees, and we are eager to hear Hari Katha." So this combination is the best combination. The subject matter is Hari Katha. The speaker is a great devotee, and an hearer, they are eager to hear. That's the best combination. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that Maitreya, he considered the company of Vidura most desirable because he was such a great devotee. And he was thinking that by association of Vidura, he will excel, his devotional service will get accelerated. Chakravarti Thakur writes a very wonderful statement. He says, "Actually, you have prayed for my association, O Vidura, but according to me, your association is the most rare." That is the wonderful nature That's a wonderful relationship and dealing between the speaker of the Bhagavatam and the hearer of the Bhagavatam. Maitreya says, just by serving the devotees of the Lord like you, I will also advance. So a speaker, the Vakta, always feels all these are great devotees, and I'm just trying to serve them by, sharing some of the Hari Katha, whatever I have heard. Yatha Mati, Yatha Shrutam. Because if the devotees are pleased, Krishna will be pleased. And whatever I am speaking, that knowledge will become realization, otherwise it will just remain theoretical knowledge. So therefore, Maitreya is expressing a great joy. Oh, aho, bata. Sat sevaniyo bata puru vamsh. Bata means it is an exclamation. So Chakravarti Thakur says, actually Vidura has agreed to accept this birth just for my sake. So that's how Maitreya is glorifying Vidura. You have appeared for my sake. You have appeared for saving me, O Vidura. You have appeared to give me your association. But the Puru Vamsho, what is the nature of Puru Vamsha? The Lord is realized in various aspects, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. But Puru Vamsha, they are not Gyanis. They are not yogis. They are great devotees. Yallo Kapalo Bhagavat Pradhana. They are Bhagavat Pradhana. And among the worshippers of Bhagavan, you are the best. Your dynasty is the best, O Vidura, because by your association, every moment I am experiencing newer and newer joy. Actually, you know what you are doing? By your presence, you are making the garland of the glories of the Lord ever fresh. That is the beauty of Harikatha. That's how a speaker of the Bhagavatam feels. So Maitreya is saying, actually, Kirti Mala, you are stringing this garland of the Lord's glories. You know what is a thread? Because to make a garland, you need a thread. So the glories of the Lord, they are beautiful flowers, various wonderful, colorful flowers. And what is the thread? Thread is the taste of the devotee to speak Harikatha, to hear Harikatha. If somebody develops a taste for the Harikatha, that is a thread in which the glories of the Lord, they are garlanded. And you know what you are doing? Where are you putting this garland? Generally, the garland is put on the neck. But Vidura's Maitreya is saying, you are placing this garland in the casket of your ears and the mind. This garland is decorating the mind and the ears of Vidura. And because of your desire to hear Harikatha, it is ever fresh. Ever fresh. So therefore he says, your greatness cannot be expressed in words. So that is the power of Harikatha. So that is the power of a hearer of Bhagavatam. So here Maitreya Muni is expressing his consciousness that I have not come to deliver you, I have come to get delivered, I have come to get benefited. And then after expressing his gratitude, now Maitreya, he starts answering a question of Vidura which he had asked in the 5th chapter. In the 5th chapter, Vidura had asked, now people in the world, they are working for happiness, but they don't get happiness. On the contrary, they get pain. Sukhaya karmani karoti loko nate sukham vanya duparamam va vindeta bhuya tat eva dukkham yadatra uktam bhagavan vadena. That was the question. Why people are suffering? They want happiness, but they are suffering. Please tell me how they can come out of this entanglement. So now Vidur Maitreya, he answers that question. He says, I will answer all your questions by describing the glories of Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam has all the answers. Soham nrinam shulla sukhaya dukkham Mahadgatanam viramaya tasya pravartaye bhagavata puranam yadaha sakshat bhagavan rishibhyah soham nrinam shulla sukha. You know, people in the world, they are so very miserable. They are hankering for shulla sukha. They want little pleasure. But you know what they get in return? Mahat dukh. They want, they are hankering after a little bit of pleasure, but they don't get that also. On the contrary, they get huge distress. Mahat dukh. So therefore, to stop this misery of people in general, Pravartaye Bhagavata Puranam. I will speak Bhagavata Purana. Let me begin speaking this Bhagavata Purana, because by hearing this Bhagavata, all the living entities will get purified. Yadaha Sakshad. And who has spoken this Bhagavatam? Bhagavan Rishi. Vyasdeva has spoken this Bhagavatam in the beginning. I will speak that same Bhagavatam. Vyasdeva has written Bhagavatam. एतद्ध्यातुर चित्तानां मात्रा स्पर्शेच्छयामुः भव सिंधु प्लवो दृष्टो हरिचर्याणु वर्णनम. Bhagavatam is for everyone, especially for those who are really distressed. Atur chitta, their chitta, their consciousness are completely disturbed. The etadhi atur chittanam, those who are really distressed, Bhagavatam is for them. Matras par. Why they are distressed? Because they want sense gratification, but by sense gratification they don't become happy. Bhava Sindhu Plava. To cross this ocean of material existence, you need a boat. That boat is Hari Charyanu Varnanam. That boat is the boat of Hari Katha. So when we hear Bhagavatam, we can become happy, we can become free from distress. So Prabhupada writes, only one who is fortunate, he gets a chance to hear Bhagavatam from the mouth of pure devotees. It is very, very rare to hear Bhagavatam. How many of the people of the world, they get a chance to hear Bhagavatam? That too from the sincere, dedicated, practicing devotees or pure devotees. It is a rare event. So what we are doing, it is a rare event. To hear and to speak Bhagavatam, it is a rare event. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, generally people in the world, they are under the impression that I am this body, and that's why they are suffering life after life. So when they hear Bhagavatam, then they can come out of this misconception. Then they can get benefited. And then Maitreya continues. He says, this Bhagavatam, it was spoken by Lord Sankarsana in the beginning, because some time ago, actually Sanat Kumar, he wanted to hear Bhagavatam. He also had the similar doubts like you have. So this is a very wonderful thing which happens in Bhagavatam. Whenever any person asks any questions, the speaker says, "Arey, previously this question is already asked. I'll tell you." So now Maitreya is saying, actually Sanat Kumar also has the same question as you are asking me. And I'll tell you the answer which Maitreya, which Lord has given to the four sages. So Prabhupada writes, actually this is the clarification of the statement that Lord has actually spoken this Bhagavatam directly. Actually, in the 12th canto of Bhagavatam, it is described that whenever any person is speaking in the parampara, it is Krishna who is speaking. Kasmai yena vibhashito yamatulo jnana pradipa pura tadarupena chanaradaya munaya krishnaya tadarupena yogendraya tadatmanata bhagavad rataya karunyata Tashrinvan supatan vicharana paro bhaktya vimuche naraha. So this verse describes that whenever any person is speaking in the parampara, it is Krishna who is speaking. Kasma, in the beginning, Brahma spoke to Narada. Actually, Krishna spoke as Brahma to Narada. When Narada tadarupena cha Naradaya munaya Krishnaya tadarupena, Krishna in the form of Narada Muni spoke to Vyasa. Yogindraya tadatmanata Bhagavad. Krishna in the form of Vyasadev spoke to Shukadeva Goswami. Krishna in the form of Shukadeva Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj. This is actually parampara actually. And Srila Prabhupada also he would tell many times. One time a person asked, a reporter was asking Prabhupada, Swamiji, how did you write these books? You know, how did you get this inspiration? So Prabhupada he told that actually when I sit to write Bhagavatam, actually Krishna comes and he dictates, and I just take dictation. So this reporter could not understand how is it possible. So now the disciple, he was also listening, said, he thought maybe I'll clarify. He said, no, actually what Swamiji means is Krishna inspires him and he writes. Prabhupada says, no, I am saying Krishna directly speaks to me. So therefore Prabhupada writes, this is a clarification of the statement that Lord spoke this Bhagavatam directly in the beginning. So when the sages, they wanted to ask many questions, they traveled through the Ganga. Ganga is the only river which flows in all the three planetary systems, Bhu, Bhuva, Swa, and even in the lower planetary systems, even in the Patala. So sages, they come via the Ganga, and as they reached, they saw that Lord Shankarshan is meditating on the Supreme Personality of God with his eyes half closed. So all the great sages, they offer their obeisances. They touch the lotus feet of the Lord. Maitreya Muni says that the lotus feet of Lord Sankarshana, that lotus feet is worshipped by the daughters of the kings of the serpents. And a very beautiful description comes in the 5th canto of Bhagavatam, the last chapter, the second last chapter, the glories of Lord Anantha. There it is described that when all these ladies, the daughters of the Naga kings, these princesses, they are worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, and the nails of the Lord, they are so shiny. These devotees, these ladies, they see their own reflection in the toenails of the Lord and they are so happy. So, so Maitreya Muni says that lotus feet of Lord is worshipped by the daughters of the Naga princess. And Prabhupada writes that Ganga is the only river which flows throughout the universe. And when the sages, they reached this Patala Loka, their hairs were still wet. Prabhupada writes actually, these devotees, these sages, they have touched the lotus feet of the Lord. How? They have taken bath in the Ganga. And what is Ganga? Ganga is coming from the lotus feet of the Lord. So taking bath in Ganga means touching the lotus feet of the Lord. So glories of the Ganga are unlimited. So the first canto also describes when King Parikshit, he left everything, all his kingdom, and he went to the bank of Ganga. It is described the glories of Ganga. Ya Vailasa Shri Tulasi Vimishra Krishnangri Renum Abhyadikambu Netri Punati Lokanubhayatra Seshan Kastam Na Seveta Marishyamanaha. The Ganga is mixed with Tulasi, which is offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. Yavailasa Shri Tulasi Vimishra. Anybody who takes bath in Ganga, he gets pure love of God. Who will not take shelter of Ganga? So the sages, as they reached uh, you know, this Garbhodak ocean, they took darshan of beautiful form of the Lord Sankarshan, and they offered their glorification of the Lord. And Lord, Supreme Lord, in reciprocation, he began radiating his effulgence just to give pleasure to the devotees. So Sankarshan is described as Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka means that personality who is glorified in the choicest poetry, the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada writes, a profusion of, very beautiful statement, Prabhupada writes, a profusion of such selected words come from the devotee who is fully absorbed in affection and love for the Supreme Lord. So, unless we have genuine affection and love for the Lord, we cannot express heartfelt prayers. We may offer prayers to the Supreme Lord when we go and take darshan, but many times our prayers are mixed with some material desires, some motives. But when we develop actual love and affection, then we can offer genuine prayers full of love, full of devotion. And that is possible by anyone actually. We hear in Bhagavatam when Lord appeared in front of Dhruva, small boy, just 5 years old boy. He had no knowledge of Sanskrit, he had not gone to school also. Lord realized that this small child wants to offer prayers. So he touched the forehead of the Lord with his conch shell, and Dhruva started speaking such beautiful prayers. Yontak pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjeevayatyakila shakti dharaswadhamna anyam sahasra charana shravanattvagadi prana namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. Oh my Lord, just by your touch you have enlivened my senses. Even the ladies of Hastinapur, when Krishna he was passing by the roads of Hastinapur, Sut Goswami describes, the talks of the ladies, they were actually much more relishable than the Vedic hymns. Anyonyam astit sanjalpa uttama shloka chetasam kauramendra purastrinam sarva shruti manohara. There also the word uttama shloka comes. So therefore Prabhupada writes, without development of fine affection and love, we cannot offer prayers properly. So Lord, he spoke Bhagavatam to Sanat Kumar and the three others Kumaras. Sanat Kumar, he spoke the same Bhagavatam to Sankhyayan Muni, who was a very, very learned, enlightened soul. Prabhupada writes, unless one hears from a proper authority, he cannot become a preacher. It is not natural, right? If we have not heard, how can we speak? If we have not heard properly, how can we speak properly? So because Sanat Kumar, he heard from Sankarshana, he spoke this Bhagavatam to Sankhyayan Muni. And Sankhyayan Muni, because he was himself a great learned scholar, transcendentalist, a great devotee. So once he was also speaking this Bhagavatam, and when Bhagavatam was being spoken by Sankhyayan, Parashar Muni and Brihaspati, both of them they heard. And then Maitreya says that Parashar Muni, he was advised by Pulatsya to speak this Bhagavatam. And by my fortune, I was able to hear that Bhagavatam which was spoken by Parashar Muni. Prabhupada gives a background story of it. He says, one time, what happened? Parashar Muni, his father was killed by one of the demons. And Pulatsya, he is considered to be the father of all the demoniac race. So Parashar, when his father was killed, he became so angry. He started a sacrifice. He wanted to he wanted to destroy the entire demoniac race. And seeing this devastation happening, Vasishtha Muni, he approached Parashar. And because Vasishtha, he was a very senior and enlightened sage, on his request, Vasishtha, he requested that please you, for a mistake of one person, please don't destroy the entire dynasty. So Parashar Muni, he agreed, he accepted the request of Vasishtha. And Pulatsya, because he is the father of demoniac race, so he became very happy and pleased that, okay, Parashar, he has, stopped killing, stopped destroying all my descendants. So he gave benediction to Parashar that you will be able to speak the glories of the greatest of the Puranas. And that's how Parashar Muni was empowered to speak Bhagavatam. And Maitreya says, I will speak to you that same Bhagavatam which I have heard from Parashar Muni. Why? Because you are faithful follower. That is very, very important qualification of a hearer of Bhagavatam. You should never ever have any doubt. Is it right? Whatever Bhagavatam describes, is it right? One time a person, one time a devotee, after class, he asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I have read in Bhagavatam that, such and such things are mentioned. Is it right? So Prabhupada became so angry. He said, you are quoting Bhagavatam and you are asking, is it right? How can you ask this? You don't have faith. You are a fool. So we should have that faith that whatever we are hearing in Bhagavatam, that is right. And that qualifies as a faithful follower is a proper recipient of the knowledge of Bhagavatam. As Bhagavad Gita also says, Krishna is telling, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatpara samyatendriyaha jnanam labdva param shantim chirena adhigacchati. A person who is faithful, he gets knowledge. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. So Maitreya is telling to Vidura, because you are my faithful follower, Shraddhalvai nityam anuvrataye. 3 words he is using. You are Shraddhaya, you are faithful. Nityam, you are always faithful. It is not that sometimes I am faithful, sometimes I lose my faith. And you are anuvrata, you are a follower. Some people, they just hear and they don't follow. Maitreya says, you are my faithful follower. I know that you will follow also whatever I am saying, whatever you are hearing, you will practice it in your life. That is actually main purpose of hearing Bhagavatam. To practice. It is one thing to hear Bhagavatam, that is also purifying. But the most important thing is to practice Bhagavatam. Shrindvata Shraddhaya Nittam Granatascha Swacheshtitam Kalena Na Atidirghena Bhagavan Vishate Riti. Shrindvata Shraddhaya Nitya. We have to hear with faith regularly. Then Grinatascha. Grinata means we have to apply. And then Swacheshtitam, we have to endeavor. Endeavor to practice. If we don't endeavor to practice, then we will not get benefited much. And if we endeavor to practice, then what will happen? Kalena na atidirghena. In due course of time, without any delay, Bhagavan Vishate Ridi, Krishna will enter in the heart. So that is the glory of Bhagavatam. That is the glory of having faith in Bhagavatam. So after explaining the descent of Bhagavatam, now Maitreya, he starts describing the process of creation. And he starts the description by telling what happened at the end of the night of Brahma. We all know Brahma, he lives for 100 years, and every day of Brahma has 12 hours. That means 1000 yoga cycles. And every night of Brahma also has 12 hours. That means another 1000 yoga cycles. So what happens at the night of Brahma? When Brahma goes to sleep, all the lower planetary systems, they get submerged up to Swarga, Bhu, Bhuva, Swarga. All these lower planetary systems, they get submerged in the waters of annihilation. So Maitreya, he begins the story. He begins what happened at the end of the night of Brahma. That means now the night is about to end. Brahma is about to get up. So before just night is ending, what is happening? Maitreya continues. He says, universe, it was submerged in the waters of dissolution. Garbhodak Sagar, Garbhodak Ocean. The water rises at the end of the day of Brahma. There are torrents of rains. There's Samvartaka clouds, which come in the Govardhan Leela. They start showering torrents of rains, and the water of the level of Garbhodak Sagar starts rising, submerging Bhumandala, Swarga, Bhu, Bhuva, Swara. Everything gets submerged in the waters of annihilation. Who remains? Only Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. He is lying down alone on the bed of Anantha, peaceful. His eyes half closed, not completely closed, half closed. He's not sleeping like we sleep. He is in yoga nidra. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that his eyes, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, his eyes do not close completely. Amilita drik, the word used is amilita. They are not completely closed. And in that situation, his Chit Shakti was always active. Chit Shakti means the internal potency of the Lord is always working. So it is not that when the external universe gets destroyed, oh, how does Lord enjoy? Or the Lord is enjoying with his internal potency. Lord is not thinking, now I am alone, how will I enjoy now? No, Lord is enjoying with his internal potency eternally. So when Maitreya, he speaks this, Vidura gets a doubt. Huh? When the Lord is submerged, Lord is in the ocean with nobody, where are the jivas now? All those living entities were staying in Bhumandala, Bhuvar Loka, Swarga Loka. Where are they now? What is the position of the jivas? Maitreya answers. The Lord, he remained in the waters of dissolution, and all the living entities, they are also there in the body of the Lord along with their subtle bodies. So the soul along with the subtle body is there in the body of the Lord. Gross bodies are not there. Subtle bodies are there. All the karmas are there. Karma and subtle body, everything is there. Kapiladev describes in the teachings to his mother that when the living entity is submerged in the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, that is actually a state of liberation. But in that state of liberation, he is miserable because the desires are still haunting him. Desires are there. It is just like a person who has 1 crore rupees, but he has lost it. But the desires are there. So therefore, living entities, they suffer. They are miserable when they are, in the dormant situation in the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Although, of course, they are sleeping by the power of the Lord. They are all sleeping. So next question may come. Okay, the Lord is resting. How long did he rest? How long till the jivas are there in the dormant state? Maitreya continues. He says, the Supreme Lord, he lies down for 1000 yuga cycles. That is the night of Brahma. So for the entire night of Brahma, all the living entities, they are there in the body of Brahma, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, uh, in the subtle form. Subtle bodies are there and the soul is there, gross bodies are not there. So now the night is about to end. So now what happens is, as the night is ending, the Supreme Lord, he glances on all the jivas who are inside him. And by the glance, all the jivas, they become active. They again get into motion. By the by the influence of the time factor, everything is happening. So Prabhupada writes, and you know what is this time factor? This is ignorance. Because of this influence of the time factor, living entities, they have been ignorant since time immemorial about their relationship of Krishna. They have forgotten that we are servants of Krishna, Jivira Swarupoy, Krishna Nityadas, they have forgotten. And that's why they are suffering so much. They are trying to enjoy, but they are suffering. That's why they are called as Mudhas in Bhagavad Gita. Namam dushkritano mudha prapadyante naradhama. They are fools. They don't understand that unless they serve Krishna, they can never be happy. But Lord is thinking, oh, all these jivas, they are suffering. They have the desires, but still they can't function. So he glanced on them and he agitated all these material elements with Rajogun. And all these material elements, they came out of the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu as very, very effulgent lotus. So this lotus, that is the aggregate of all the material elements which are there in this universe. So this entire lotus, that is called as Vairaj Brahma. That is the gross form of the entire universe. All the 14 planetary systems, the gross form is this lotus flower. And it is very effulgent. Because why it is effulgent? Because it has all the jivas also inside. So all the jivas are there. And on this lotus, now Maitreya Muni, he speaks two different instances while describing this. He tells what happened at the end of at the end of the night of Brahma. And he's telling the situation on the day one of Brahma, when Brahmaji was born. We have heard about it in second canto also. So he's telling, two things. So he tells, on that universal lotus flower, Lord Vishnu, he entered as Paramatma. And because of the influence of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, Brahmaji appeared on that lotus flower. And what happened after Brahmaji took birth? Brahmaji, he could not see this entire world because it was all dark. He could not see anything. And he's thinking, who am I? What am I supposed to do? How come I have come here? So as he's thinking, he is looking around, circumambulating all the space. And because he looked in all the four directions, he developed four heads. So that's how he developed four heads. And Brahmaji could not understand, who am I? How I have come here? Prabhupada writes a very interesting purport. Prabhupada writes, Brahmaji, he tried for 1 millennium to know this material creation on his own, but he could not understand that. How come these material scientists, they are claiming that they will understand this material creation? How is this possible? Are Brahma, who is made up of intelligence, with his four heads, he could not understand what is the beginning of this lotus. How can ordinary material scientists, they can understand? who have such a limited capacity. Only by the mercy of the Lord one can understand the Lord and the creation of the Lord. So the bewilderment of Brahma, it reveals that it is very difficult to understand this material nature by one's own mental speculation. And whatever power one gets, that is the mercy of the Lord. So Brahma, as he's thinking, as he's contemplating, oh, who am I? Where has this lotus come from? There must be something down from where this lotus is coming. He's thinking all this. Prabhupada writes, see, the most intelligent man of the entire universe, he is not able to understand from where this universe has come. How can ordinary scientists understand? Only if somebody performs penance, then he can understand. Only when the Lord shows mercy, then he can understand. अथापि ते देव पदाम्बुजद्वय प्रसादलेशानुगृहीत एव हि जानाति तत्त्वं भगवन्महिम्नो न चान्य एकोऽपि चिरं विचिन्वन्. Brahmaji is offering this prayers, comes in the 10th canto. Oh my Lord, athapi te deva padambujadvaya, unless one takes shelter of your lotus feet, oh my Lord, prasad alesha, unless he gets a drop of your mercy, he cannot understand you. Janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno, only by a drop of your mercy one can understand you, oh my Lord. Otherwise, even if one practices for millions of lifetimes, he will not understand you. So therefore, Brahma, after endeavoring, after struggling very hard, he understood, okay, I can't do anything. Actually, what he did, he entered the stem of the lotus because he wanted to really find out. He was struggling, using all his capacity. He entered the tunnel. He entered the stem of the lotus and he was going down and down and down. And he was going for thousands of years, but still he didn't come to an end of the stem. He got really upset. All his endeavor, no gain. So what he did, he came back on the top of the lotus. And then what he did, he started meditating on the Supreme. He understood, on my own, I cannot reach, I cannot understand. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, only by my devotional service, my devotee can understand me. Nobody else can understand. So Brahma, he started doing tapasya. So this verse, this 19th verse tells that all the attempts of the materialists to know God, to know this nature will be futile. They can never know this creation. What to speak of the Lord? Avajananti mam mudha. Foolish can never understand me. Because I cover them. I am covered by my Maya, Yog Maya, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, Yoga Maya Samavrita. I am covered by my Yog Maya potency. Mudho Yamna Vijanati. Foolish people, they can never know me. Only devotees. Devotees can know me. Bhaktyamam Vijanati. So Brahma, you're searching so hard and we realize that my life is decreasing. So he came back and he started doing meditation. And Prabhupada writes a very, very brilliant purport here. And Chakravarti Thakur also writes a very nice purport. He says, one who gives up the pride, he attains the Lord by the will of the Lord. Now, one very interesting thing which is going to happen, which will be revealed in the 9th chapter. So, Srila Prabhupada, he writes that, you know what Brahmaji is doing? He gave up his personal endeavor and he started meditating on the Lord. That is a sign of self-surrender. To cease from personal endeavors and to concentrate on the Supreme is a sign of self-surrender. And the self-surrender is a sign of pure devotional service. So what happened, Krishna, Supreme Lord, when he appeared in front of Brahmaji, it will come in some time. He starts speaking to Brahmaji. It will be described in the next chapter. So in the 9th chapter, 37th and 38th verses, Lord is speaking a very, very important thing. It actually humbles all the devotees. It should make us really humble. You know what Lord says? He says, Brahma, when you are contemplating about the source of your lotus, you entered into the stem of the lotus. You could not find anything. You could not trace. You know what happened? Who inspired you to come back and do meditation? It was I who inspired you. Whatever desires, whatever inspiration, whatever enthusiasm we have, it is given by Krishna. Not only that, Krishna speaks, Lord continues. O Brahma, the prayers you have chanted in my glorification, the tapasya you have undertaken, and your faith in me, everything is given by me. It is all my mercy. Actually, this should make us really humble. Nothing belongs to us. Nothing is ours. Whatever we have, whatever we have got, it is by the mercy of the Lord. Krishna says the same thing in Bhagavad Gita. I am the strength of the man. Balam balavadam chaham. I am the strength of the strong. I am the ability in the man. Shabda khe paurusham rishu. Our faith, our strength to do penance, everything is given by the Lord. So therefore, nothing is ours. We should not think that, I can do all these things on my own because everything is given by Krishna. Another extreme is one should not think that if everything is happening by mercy, why should I endeavor? Prabhupada writes a brilliant line in the purport there. He says, voluntary endeavor is the only qualification for spiritual perfection. Very, very important line. Voluntary endeavor is the only qualification for spiritual perfection. Unless we show our endeavor, unless we are determined, unless we are enthusiastic, we will not get mercy of the Lord. Because Lord only gives mercy to those people who really hanker for it, who are struggling enough. Srinvata Shraddhaya Nityam Grinatascha Swacheshtitam. Swacheshtita means intense endeavors. Tatran Vaham Krishna Katha Pragayatam Anugrahena Shrinvan Manohara Ta Shraddhaya Me Nupadam Vishrinvata Priya Shravasyanga Mama Bhavatrushi. So Narad Muni is telling his past life. It comes in the first canto, 5th chapter. All these Bhaktivedantis, they came and they were speaking, discussing Harikatha, and Narad, as a small boy, he also got a chance to hear. But he says, I had 3 qualifications. Shraddhayame, Anupadam, Vishrinvataha. I had intense faith. I was regularly hearing and I was hearing attentively. Vishrinvataha. So this is very important to hear attentively with all our effort, with all our endeavor. Voluntary endeavor. Brahmaji endeavored a lot for so many years, for 100 celestial years. He was doing tapasya that pleased the Lord. So therefore, 100 years he was doing tapasya, and at the end of the 100 years, he could see the Lord. Prabhupada writes, Lord can be experienced only by the process of devotional service. not by one's own personal endeavor. And Brahmaji was trying on his own. He could not see the Lord. He could not see the end of the lotus stem. He could not see anything in the creation. But he did tapasya, and he did very intense tapasya. So Lord expects every devotee to do intense tapasya. Intense doesn't mean you are just moving around with a sad face, with a grave look. No, devotees should be happy, at the same time intense. And intensity means what? Being attentive to all our practices of Krishna consciousness is intense. Whatever we are doing, if we are intense, if we are attentive, that means we are intensely practicing. Our chanting, our hearing, our association of devotees, our kirtans, how attentive we are in kirtan, how attentive we are in our chanting. That attracts the mercy. So Prabhupada writes, first of all, we have to endeavor, and then we have to wait for the mercy. We cannot demand, oh Lord, please give your mercy right now. We cannot do that. So now Brahmaji, he got darshan of the Lord, beautiful form of the Lord. 9 verses now describe the form of the Lord. In Bhagavatam, many places we hear the descriptions of the form of the Lord. Why all these descriptions? They come again and again so that we get attracted to them. We get attracted to Krishna. Darshanano didrikshunam dehi bhagavatashitam rupam priyatamam swanam sarvendriya gunanjanam. Lord Shiva is telling, he's offering his prayers in Rudra Gita. It comes in the 4th canto. Oh my Lord, please give darshan. Darshana, no, we are the Drikshu. We are eagerly hankering to have your darshan. Dehi Rupam Priyatamam, please show us that beautiful, attractive form, because that is the only form which can satisfy all the senses. Rupam Priyatamam Swanam Sarvendriya Gunanjanam. All the senses can be purified and satisfied only by darshan of the Lord. So now Brahmaji is having darshan of the Lord for the first time. Mrinala Gaura Yatashesha Bhoga Paryankameka Purusham Puran Shayanam Fanat Patra Yutamurtha Ratna Dyuvar Hatadvanta Yuganta Toye. Yuganta Toye, at the end of the day of night of Brahma. Now Brahmaji is now seeing the entire universe, entire atmosphere was illuminated just by the presence of the Lord. And Brahmaji could see the Supreme Lord lying on the white bed of Anantha, Gaurayuta, Shesha. Shesha means the Ananta Shesha. Lord was lying down on the bed of Anantha, whitish. Paryanka Eka Purusham Puranam. The Lord, the Purusham Purana, the original Purusha, was lying on this bed. And then what else was there? And then on the top of Lord, unlimited hoods of Ananta were there. Fanata Patra Yutamurtha Ratna. And all the hoods of Ananta, they were decorated with jewels. And the rays from the jewels of these, which were there on the hoods of the Ananta, they were illuminating the entire universe. That is the first darshan of the Lord. Now, beautifully, in various verses, Maitreya Muni, he compares the form of the Lord to various things. So in the 24th verse, he compares the form of the Lord to a coral mountain. Preksham Shipantam Haritopaladre Sandhya Braniver Ururukmamurdhnaha Ratno Dadharau Shadiso Manasya Vanasrajo Venu Bhujangri Pangre. The luster of the body of the Lord, it was actually defeating the beauty of a coral mountain. And the yellow garments which Lord was wearing, it was defeating the beauty of the evening sky. The Lord he was wearing a helmet bedecked with jewels, and that was defeating the beauty of the golden summit. So this coral mountain, the peak of this coral mountain, it is covered with gold. So the Lord is also wearing a golden helmet with jewels on it. So it looks like the Lord's helmet is like a coral mountain having a golden peak. So Lord is, bluish black in complexion, which is like a coral. And on top of that, the helmet looks like a golden peak. And the Lord, the Lord's limbs are decorated with various ornaments. They are looking like the coral mountain, which is decorated with various flowers and waterfalls and herbs. Then this body of the Lord was very huge. It was covering the three planetary systems, the upper, middle, and the lower planetary system. They were actually covered by this huge body of the Lord. He was wearing beautiful dress and beautiful ornaments. And then Brahmaji is glorifying the lotus feet of the Lord. Pumsam swakamaya vivikta marga. Actually, Maitreya Muni is, describing what Brahmaji is seeing. And Maitreya is glorifying the lotus feet of the Lord. Pumsam swakamaya vivikta margai abhyarchatam kamadughan hripadamam pradarshayantam kripaya nakhendu mayuka bhinnangulicharu patram. Now this is a very, very interesting and wonderful verse. Now in this verse, actually what Brahmaji saw, which form of the Lord was shown to Brahmaji? Very interesting. Pumsam swakamaya viviktamarga. Those people who are in pure devotion, abhyarchatam, they worship kama dughangri padmam. They worship the lotus feet of the Lord who can fulfill all the spiritual desires. Kama dughangri padmam. So therefore, Lord, by his causeless mercy, he showed his lotus feet. Pradarshayantam kripaya. By his own mercy, Lord showed his lotus feet. So Brahmaji, what he saw the nakha, he saw the nails of the Lord. And from the nails of the Lord, a effulgence comes, a splendor. Nakhendu mayukha. Mayukha means the transcendental rays are coming from the toenails of the Lord. And the toenails and the fingernails, they appeared like beautiful petals of lotus flower. That's how the lotus feet of the Lord are described. Lotus feet of the Lord are described actually in many places in Bhagavatam. Kapiladev also describes, says, yes, sanchintayet bhagavatas charanara vindam vajrankushadvaja saroruphalanchanatyam uttunga rakta vilasannaka chakravala jyotsna virahat madhridayandhakaram. When we take darshan of the Lord's lotus feet, that darshan can destroy the ignorance which is there in our heart. Because the toenails of the Lord, we should meditate on the toenails of the Lord. Because there is a effulgence. We cannot see that effulgence, but that effulgence can destroy the ignorance and the darkness which is there in our heart. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes a very, very beautiful and important purport. He says, Vivikta Margai. Vivikta Margai means Lord can be achieved only by those who are practicing Vivikta Marga, that means Bhakti Marga. Not by Jnana, not by Yoga. And you know what? Which form Lord showed to Brahmaji? Actually, Lord showed his form of Krishna. How come? Chakravarti Thakur is saying this? He says, actually, what happened? Lord is showing one feet to Brahmaji. That means one soul is visible. When we can see one soul, When Lord stands in threefold bending form, one soul is visible, other soul is not visible. So therefore, Lord revealed his form of Krishna. And there are various scriptures they also describe. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur quotes another verse from Gopal Tapani Upanishad. In that, it is described that after passing the first half of my lifetime, Brahmaji is telling, after passing the first half of my lifetime, when the night ended, I meditated and praised the Lord, and he appeared in the form of a cowherd boy. So that's how Lord showed his cowherd form. Then another beautiful verse comes. Mukhena lokartiharasmitena parispurat kundalamanditina shonaitena dharabimba bhasa pratyarhayantam sunasena shubhrava. Lord smiled at Brahma. And when Lord smiled at Brahmaji, that smile removed the distress of years and years of tapasya. Lord, he had beautiful earrings and they were moving. And because of the movement of the earrings, the reflection of those earrings were falling on the cheek of the Lord. And that was creating such a wonderful vision. Shonaitena darabimba bhasa. And Brahmaji, with his smile, you know what he did? He acknowledged the service of Brahmaji. The smile of the Lord is actually a remuneration. Whenever it comes many times in Bhagavatam, whenever devotees offer prayers, Lord smiles. That smile is itself sufficient to satisfy the devotees. They don't need anything else. So Lord smiled, and Chakravarti Thakur writes, actually, you know why Lord smiled? Because Lord is grateful for whatever service the devotees are performing, because the devotees of the Lord, they don't want anything in return. So Lord feels so grateful and so indebted for the service, selfless service. Devotees, they don't want anything. So Lord feels indebted, and just to repay his debt, he smiles. That smile is the remuneration which Lord is giving to his devotees. And actually, Lord, he adores his devotees so much. It comes in the third canto of Bhagavatam. It will come in the further chapters. When four Kumaras, they go to Brahmalok, they go to Vaikuntha and they get darshan of the Lord. There was a fight between Jai Vijay and the four Kumaras. And Lord comes out. Lord tells that actually I worship the dust of the lotus feet of my devotees, because by worshipping the dust of my devotees' lotus feet, I have become powerful. And that's why Lakshmi Devi doesn't leave me. Although I don't want Lakshmi Devi's service, but still she's not leaving me. Why? Because I take dust of my devotees' lotus feet on my head. Yat sevaya charana padma pavitra renum sadhya shatakhil malam pratilabdha sheelam na shri viraktim apimam vijahati yasya preksha lavartha itare niyaman vahanti. So that's what Lord Krishna is telling. And then Lord is compared to a sandalwood tree. The sandalwood tree is decorated with flowers, branches. That similarly, Lord's body was decorated with various jewels. Just like the sandalwood tree is self-situated, it doesn't need help from anyone else. Lord is all powerful. He is the origin of all the universes. He doesn't need anyone's help. Sandalwood tree, because it is cool, it is always covered with snakes. Lord's body is also covered by the hoods of Anantha. So that's how Chakravarti Thakur glorifies. Maitreya Muni is telling. Then Lord is compared to a sandalwood mountain. He says that a mountain is a shelter of so many living entities, right? Lord is also a shelter of all the living entities. And a sandalwood mountain is a friend of snakes. Similarly, Lord is friend of the king of snakes, Anantha. And similarly, he glorifies the Lord, and then in the end, Brahmaji, he comes to the conclusion, oh, this form of the Lord I am seeing is the form of Lord Hari. He understood. He understands. He understood that, okay, I am seeing the form of Lord Hari, the Supreme Lord. And then he starts thinking about the service of the Lord. And in this way, he started offering first prayers to the Lord. And that's how this chapter ends. Thank you very much. We'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions, you can please ask. Okay, so I think there are no questions, so we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.